For hundreds of years, accountants have recorded business ledgers and balanced books in the same way. General ledgers and subledgers, debits and credits, balance sheets, and profit and loss statements. For almost as long as businesses have had investors, there have been auditors to analyze businesses, to safeguard and alert investors, to maintain the public trust that monies collected by the state are appropriately spent and accounted for. And for more than 100 years, auditors have reviewed the accounting and financial statements in the same way, gaining an understanding of the business, sampling the transactions, and concluding if the financial statement is representative of the business. In recent times, with the advent of ERP systems and accounting packages, the work of creating business transactions and generating financial statements has become more automated. This has also allowed companies to easily expand their footprint to the point where today we have businesses that span to the farthest reaches of the globe. Businesses that have the ability to exchange calls, messages, pictures, and transactions in less time than it takes to draw a breath of air. In the last 15 years, we have seen large businesses buying each other and creating these huge multinational companies with hundreds of millions of business transactions. We have seen an increase in transaction-level government oversight activities to ensure money is spent appropriately. Think about using the same sampling techniques the auditors used a century ago. When comparing the sample size to the transaction population, it is like a drop of water in an ocean of transactions. It is hard to believe that a small sample, a statistical result, could truly represent the business as a whole. And this is still the way auditors perform their tasks. The global movement towards the use of information systems and documentation was without the use of standardization. This has created a world with different systems with different ways of organizing data. Understanding the way data is organized requires deep system knowledge or reliance on experts from the business. Either result means that the auditor requires help in understanding the data, and this restricts their ability to act independently. This situation is similar to what occurred in the early 20th century with electricity. There were no standards in place regarding how electrical plugs would be configured, and we ended up with multiple variations. Today we have at least 5 different electrical plug types. The only way to use one plug to access electricity in another country is to use a universal adapter. What auditors need is a universal adapter for ERP systems, a way to access data for audit purposes regardless of the system or underlying data structures. PC 295 and a number of other important standards began our journey to create this universal adapter. In PC 295, we resolve common problems that auditors face when requesting data from various systems in the areas of general ledger, sales, purchases, AR, AP, PPE, and inventory. There are many more areas of interest that need standardization, including public sector budget, tax, social insurance, pension, and health insurance. We need guidance on how to pre-process data, validate the data for completeness, and stage the data for use, so that auditors will have access to reliable information to perform their procedures and issue judgments that are based on the whole business, not just a few samples. Our journey began with many individual data sources. We have begun the process of linking these data sources together, seeing how they can combine. We need to take the next step to create standards and guidance for how these data flow into the ocean of transactions and how to structure these data for use. In a time when new technologies like blockchain promise the use of business data beyond the individual company to create a more interconnected network of product and service movements, we can think of no more important task than to have a deeper understanding of the ocean of transactions, not only for how new technologies will leverage data in the future, but for how we can better leverage data today to perform higher quality and more effective and efficient audits. With this new understanding and the standards that will be achieved, we will be ready for the audit of the future. An audit where data is easily accessible and auditors can focus on their core mission. A time when the challenge of obtaining data was a concern of the past, a challenge that was forgotten as ever being an issue. A true universal adapter across industries, across borders, across systems. This is our goal for this TC. Help us to make this a reality.